Okay, Ken back again, and we're back working on this guy. This is MadLab's kit, and this is what I believe was like the first REM pod edition that they started with, or somebody tried to make it from that. So, but this is what I'm making my REM pods from. That. Okay, so I have the board sitting there, all ready to go. I have my soldering iron. The multimeter there is the ohm meter, so you can measure the resistors and make sure you get the right ones. I have a resistor chart. Okay, you can get these off of the internet. Just type in resistor chart and you can print one out. All right. You got the build list and all. Now we're going to get rid of the multimeter. The multimeter I used, you can use just to measure the different resistors and stuff. But since I already did that, I don't need this here. So just in the way. So I have all my resistors laid out. Okay, if you noticed on the resistor thing, there's 1 meg, there's 10K, there's 100 ohm, and then there's two 1K resistors, there's 2 more 100 ohm resistors, and that's it. So we got 3 of these resistors are 100 ohms, and that's why they're in the tape. 2 of these resistors are 1K, and that's what those are right there. One of these resistors is a 10K, and that's that one. The 1 meg is the one on the end. It's the only one that has green in it. So the 1 meg, what it's doing is it's going to R1. On these boards, if you notice, all the resistors are marked with their designation. So you really don't need a schematic if you buy the kit. If you want to do the other, you can make it from the schematic. You get all the parts. I have a copy of this I'm going to put in so that you can see it in the video. I'll put a still shot, okay, in there, then you can get it. But I'm going to put this together. I have the rest of the components over here. This is the regulator chip. You got the 2 electrolytic capacitors, and you have to make sure that you put the plus in the right spot. You have this capacitor right here, and he goes up here. Okay, and it doesn't matter which way he goes. Behind this, you have all the chips and the buttons and the piezo speaker. So those will be put in last. I'll just put them in last. But I'll do this now so you can see. And then we'll see if it works after. Okay. So I'm going to go by the list that's this guy. And basically, this says to put the M1 in first. And you can put your resistors any way, which way you want. You just fold it, put it in there, like that. Okay, bend the leads out on the underneath. The underneath sides, you want to bend these leads out so that the resistor stays in its spot. The number 2 is a 10K, and there's only one of those. So we'll take the 10K and we'll put it in there. Okay. Bend the leads out so that stays there. And what I'm doing is I'm basically taking the gold ring on the resistors, I'm putting them to the right. So hopefully they're all going to go to the right, and that way you can read the value, the resistance value on it. So, and then let's see, 1Ks is R4 and R5. So we'll put them in there. And that's just these two guys. The leads. Make sure that this is, I got this in frame. Okay, and all these, take the tape off. All the rest of these are 100, so they go 100 ohms, so they just go in the rest of the resistor spots. Okay, got all my resistors. All I have to do is just flip this over, and I can solder each one. I'm going to have some good solder. Okay. So, I have the soldering iron set up. Just do a little tab there. Okay. Couple things you want to have. Good to have a pair of cutters, pair of needle nose, wire strippers. Okay. Tweezers is always good to have on hand. You're probably not going to use it, but cutters you're going to use. Up. All these. Don't want any shorts. Remove all the little leads. Okay. So we got all those removed. Back over. What I want to put in next I'll throw in the two buttons. Buttons usually, they're not totally square, but you can tell by the legs on them, the way they're bent. You know, when you look at them, so that you can know that they'll only go in like one way. And you just push them down. See, like where the one switch is, it's not a square, it's more of a rectangle. So that'll pop in. Okay. Just use your nails to push them down, and they'll go in. Now, while I got that there, the electrolytic capacitors. On the electrolytic capacitors, on this board, they show you a minus. Okay, on the capacitor, there's a minus lead, you know, right there. So you want to take that minus lead and you want to stick it so that it goes just like that, where you're seeing it minus to minus. Okay, so that's what you want to do with that, because these have to be in one direction only. Okay, the other thing I can put it in is this little capacitor. Alright, I'm going to stick him up here. I'll just bend the lead some so that it stays in as well. And then loosen that up a little. I'll be able to flip this over, and I'll be able to solder the rest of the stuff on it. So turn my soldering iron up a little bit. Okay, I want to do the legs, the switches. Some there. Legs of the switches don't have to be cut. Just leave them the way they are. No big deal. Just want stuff that's overhanging and that's going to cause a short later on down the road. So okay, flip this back over, tighten that up. One capacitor. You can always adjust stuff. Okay. And that way you can get things down. Alright. So we're going to do the regulator. Okay, that's a 5-volt regulator. Alright, and you can see that it has a flat side to it. On the board, it shows you the flat side. Okay. So you can put that on there. Spread the legs on it a little bit. Get it into the slots the right way. Okay. Do that. We can do the sockets. Now the sockets, you want to notice that there is a notch right in there. Okay. So, and you want to look on the board where the notch is. Okay, so the notch goes to the notch. Just like that. Okay, so you got the notch to the notch. And then what you want to do is you want to bend two of the legs down. Take your tweezers or your pliers, whichever you prefer. Bend the legs down, that way it stays there when you tip it over to go solder it. And that way with this one as well. Always do opposite sides. And you only have to do 2 legs. Okay. So now we can solder the regulator in. Put a little solder on this. Hit the center one first. Hit the other 2 sides. Okay, that's in. Hit that guy. That guy. That guy. That guy. That one. These kits are great for learning how to solder. You practice your solder on here. I'm not too worried about it right at the moment. As long as you don't get any bridges, you'll be fine. It's a good way to practice. If you plan on going into the field, you want to practice before you get a job or something, you know, or go for a job. And that way you can get your soldering techniques down. So, now I got that on. So we got our little speaker and the little piezo speaker, if you notice, on the board and on the speaker. There's no plus or minus. It's not like a regular speaker, so you can put it either way. I'll just stick it in there. The speaker itself is going to be a little bit difficult because you got to push the speaker in at the same time you're trying to solder the one leg. You can get enough solder on there. There we go. You get the one leg solder and it'll hold itself in, and then you go and do the other one. Go back like that, and just work your way back and forth. Okay. Now then, last things to do. The diodes. Electrolytic diodes. Okay. They have a long leg and a short leg. The short leg is the negative side, the cathode side, I believe. A little piece of paper here shows you which side you want to go. And it shows you that the LED has a flat side on it, and they want you to match it up to the line on there. So, because they're polarized. So, I'm going to match it up to that line. And basically, what I'm doing is I'm going to leave them long as much as I can. So, you don't have to. You can push them all the way in if you want. I want to get each one soldered underneath here so I can have it long. Because what I plan to do in these, if you notice, they're alternating. The line is on one side of the one diode LED, and it's on the other side of the other next LED down, and then it alternates again to the next one, and then back again. So and like I said, I'm leaving these as long as I can. Because when I put it in my box, I'm gonna extend them and put wires and stuff on them so that my little thing just came apart here. Next one. Last one, the short one, is supposed to go to that side. Get it tacked on there. Once you get it tacked on, then you can move it around. So now that I got them all in, I can just solder each one of the other ends. Now, the antenna wire, which, if you look on the board here, it's a straight line between the two of them. So you can just strip one side and solder one end in. You don't have to do both. And I mean, you can if you want, and you want to make it look like the diagram. Solder on it. There we go. Now, since it pulled out some, I can push it in. Okay. Is that soldered? No, that's not soldered. There it is. Now it's soldered. All right. And what we want to do is the power lead. Okay. The power lead ends are already stripped in this kit. And basically you can see that there are 4 holes. So the negative comes up on the top and the positive comes up on the other side. So what we want to do is we want to put the black one there and the red one in that hole. Okay, so now you can see they come through the front like this. And what you want to do is you want to get them up, push them through, and then you want to curve them over and plug them back in. Give them a nice big bend so it makes it easy. Okay, got it like that. So you can see bent over like that, and then you just go and you solder the wires. Okay, once you have the wires soldered, now you can pull these through and make them so that they're flat. And that's a strain relief so that you don't pull the wires out. Okay, last thing, make sure you put the right chip in the right socket. Okay, because you got 2 chips and they look exactly the same except for the writing. Okay, the top chip here is a 555 timer chip, and the bottom one there, that's the PIC chip, the PIC 12 chip. So the 5, and the other thing you want to notice, okay, is the cutout. The cutout is there on that one and on that one, and you can see that the PIC chip also has a little dimple, so you know which leg is the number 1 leg. Okay, so we're going to put in the 555 timer. I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit here and throw it in. Push that in. And I pretty much don't need this anymore. Thanks, extra hand. Whoa, almost dropped the chip on the floor. And now I'm going to put this chip in. I'm all done soldering. I could turn off my soldering iron. Okay. And get the legs in right. I want to force it, just make sure that they go in right, and it should just pop in there like that. You make sure that the little cutouts are the right, the same way the sockets are, and you should be all right. Now then, I got a battery over here. This is all done. I should be able to plug this in. And look at that. And it's bouncing off of this thing. So Now I took it off of that. And it will, I mean, if you go near the battery, it'll detect it, you know. You can push the two buttons and that will do the programming of it. So this answers my question. The chips that come with these are actually programmed. The PIC chips, the PIC chips in here are programmed. So you don't have to worry about programming them if you buy the kit. So if you don't know how to do electronics and stuff, you want to learn, buy the kit. If you can't buy the kit, start learning how to read schematics. Okay? Because they have the schematic, and you can download the schematic, and then you can read the schematic and do the work. Okay? So please learn how to do that. I mean, it'll take you further than what you think it can. So, okay, so this video is kind of long, so, but now you can see it works, and I put it together, and I might put it in a little box or something, you know, instead of trying to put it in this. See, this is my other one that I made. You know, the LEDs are a little bent, but okay. So they're basically the same size, almost. You see? So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Happy ghost hunting. Bye-bye.